Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Daisy. Are you planning a wedding? Are you planning a wedding for yourself, for somebody else, for later in life? Are you planning getting married very soon? I get married later. I get married in a couple of years time, couple of weeks time. Okay, not weeks. Probably this is not for you if it's just if it's a couple of weeks, but couple of months, like later in the year, next year, and you don't know where to start. You have a lot of questions. This just may be for you. So yeah, let us get right into it. We'll be looking at 10 different questions. I actually piled up 11, but let's see how the time will go. What 10 different questions that that are frequently asked by brides or whoever. So 10 frequently asked questions about wedding. One question: who pays for what? So now this question, it depends on who your family is, how much they earn, their dynamics, and generally the kind of wedding you want. Nowadays, a lot of couples pay for their weddings themselves. Some people, on the flip side, some people pay for their wedding with their parents. So their parents bring on board what they have, so they create a budget and it's okay, this is what you're going to take, this is what I'm going to take. And but the original thing that is always been said regularly is that as a Nigerian, they usually say that traditional weddings are for the bride, for the bride's family, whereas the the rest of the wedding is for the groom side, or the entire wedding is for the bride's family. Yeah. So if you've ever come out, like, for example, in Wedding Party, they made mention of this. If you watch Wedding Party, yeah, so it was made mention of. So it is something that it depends on you, the kind of wedding you want, the kind of family you come from. Some people are good with just planning it themselves. Some people, it is their family that plans it for them. Some people, it's both the family and the couple. So it's dynamic. Number two, how early is too early to start planning a wedding? That question, personally, I would say start planning your wedding the moment you get engaged. If you get engaged traditionally, right? By traditionally I mean if you get engaged, like um your your boyfriend, now fiance, goes down one knee and proposes. So that is traditionally. Also, I mean by traditionally. So if you get proposed to traditionally, start as early as possible. Which the flip side of it is, when I get engaged, I just get engaged, what do I do? Or when I get engaged, what do I do? And so that's like the B part of it. And this for me, I would say number one, breathe. Because regularly, a lot of people just always very anxious. They get engaged and they're already getting anxious. I always personally always feel like people should take their time, breathe. Now, the next week, month, not too long after, get a planner. So now, hopefully by now we are looking at planners around that can help us with our weddings. People you like their work. If you don't know anybody, talk to somebody who might know somebody, or talk to somebody whose wedding you're going to and you like the wedding or something like that. And it has a planner. And thirdly, for that part, you enjoy the process. Now a lot of people they try to breathe, they get a planner and then they start to worry again. Try to breathe, enjoy the process, take your time. Like you have to be able to take your time and walk through this thing. So you check, and so your plan is going to help you walk through these things. Let's check through all the things you've probably saved up over the years as a lady or even a man. Some men do it. Don't think it's only ladies who have things that they have in mind for their weddings. Some men have like wow factors they want to see. Some men want to see a lot of things at their wedding. So it is not only ladies who have these factors. So just have that mindset that you should take your time. It is nobody's rushing you, except there's a reason why you're being rushed. But even at that, try to take your time, try to enjoy the process. Actually, that's the thing, enjoy the process. Even in your rush, try to enjoy the process. Sometimes maybe you need to travel and you need to do it where you're in the country with your parents or something, and just enjoy the process. That's because the thing is, you will look back. If you don't enjoy the process, you're going to look back at that day, at those period, and you're going to hate yourself for not enjoying the process. So just try and enjoy the process. Number three question is, how do I have a nice wedding on a budget? So now, depending on this budget, so on a budget, normally when they say on a budget, what these people are trying to really say is they don't have so much to spend and they're just trying to work with the little they have. So little varies, yeah. But when you say on a budget, you get what I mean, trying to manage money, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So how do you plan a wedding on a budget? Regularly, I would say priorities. That's like the major thing for me. If I'm talking to a client, priorities. What are your priorities? What are the things that are most important to you? For example, so you list these things, the things that you want for your wedding, and you list everything, and you start to put them in order of priorities. And so you have to either slash the prices on some things, slash the prices on some things, cancel some things if possible, work on something. So for example, so like I said, priorities. Yeah, some people would have to make it a day wedding. They have to make it so instead of going to paying for a hall twice, or for a space twice, for decoration twice, or for food twice, they would make up twice. They would make it a day. So cutting these things into one day. Also, priorities. If you prefer your decoration to be on top and everything, your decoration is a matters for you. You could pay for the decoration that would not necessarily be too expensive, but would give you either exactly what you want or almost exactly what you want at a good cost. Which also brings me to saying that there are people who do things like rent wedding dresses, rent different things that people use without having to break a bank. So some people pay 30,000, 40,000 for your dress, depending on where you're getting your dress, kind of dress you're getting, the luxury of dress. So some of these things you don't have to necessarily spend so much. Whereas sometimes you have to get your dress for 100,000, 200k. As expensive as the dress can be as expensive as high as your imagination can go. Yeah. So priorities for me is what works for wedding on a budget. You just have to make your priorities right. What do you want? What are the things? So you have to make these things work. So then you break your money into priorities. That's the way to work. Have a great wedding on a budget. Yeah. 4, for a strictly by invitation wedding, how do you work with guests? How do you invite guests? How do you do invitation for guests? Yeah, for the strictly by invitation wedding, I'm going to give the same answer I gave as the last question. Priorities. You need to have your priorities right. Now, I was planning a wedding very recently for this couple, and they were trying to cut down on guests. And I told this couple something. I said that when you you have the number of guests. Let's say they were going to have 150 guests in total, right? So I told them, when you write your 150 guests, when you've placed it, I feel like I've spoken briefly about this. I think I need to do a full-on video about this. But yeah, when you write your 150 guests, you've finished writing those 150 guests, and then you, for some reason, remember somebody who is very important to you. It's no shade or anything, but when you're having strictly invitation weddings, it is very important that you bring people who matter the most to you, your spouse, and your love, like that they really, really matter to your love. So if it is somebody you've not spoken to in 10 years and the person doesn't even really matter, let the person stay in their house. Simple. Let the person just stay in their house. So if you're going to have a strictly by invitation wedding, the idea is to prioritize. So you make these people important. So the moment you remember somebody that is important to you, you didn't probably just remember at the beginning, look for somebody's name who is not as important and scrap it out. Simple. Except there's enough space to add. But that's just my logic. So it is priorities. Whenever you're trying to do strictly invitation wedding or events generally, make your priorities right. Who are the people important to this event? Who are the people that really matter to this wedding or to this event generally? You get me? So yeah. Number 5. What are the tips for a destination wedding? Number 1 thing is that you give your guests enough time to plan. So now, if you're getting married in December, or normally some people, they're getting married in December, they don't share their invite until like August, yeah? But if you're traveling out of the country, you're not even just leaving the state. You're not in the same country, you're traveling out of the country. My advice to you is to give that invite 4-5 months earlier. Why? Because some of these people probably need to save. Now, some people use destination wedding, honestly, to just cut down guests. Let's be fair. Let's be serious with ourselves. That's why some people do these things. So some people need to plan, save money, save time, probably go to the embassy, pay for whatever they need to pay for. You get the point. Like book hotels and whatnot. So they need enough time, ample time to do these things. Yeah. So yeah. Secondly, personally, I think that it's better for you to pick places that are easily accessible. For example, Dubai is very easily accessible because you don't need to necessarily process a visa and take in all those time and all that. So Dubai is a good place, and some other place like that that you could access without having to go through a long process. Because why I said that is because sometimes, except the place is very sentimental to you or has a very important reason, but you're just looking for, if you're just having a plain mind, you want to have a destination when you're looking for a plain place to go to. So because of easy access, because a lot of people, maybe your bridal training, you're going to have one, or some people from family members that you want to be there. Some of them might not be able to get you might not be able to get visa. You know how immigration can be, especially being Nigerian. You know how all these people can be. So it might have like a bit of issue. But some maybe you are born there, maybe you were born there, maybe your family there, and it's sentimental to you. You get my drift. That's the reason why I'll probably not mind you going to places that are not that accessible. I don't know if you get what I mean, but generally, just places that are very accessible. Yeah. Thirdly, prepare to not get offended. It is very essential that you prepare not to get offended. Why? Or like I wanted to actually say initially was prepare to get offended. But I would say prepare to not get offended. Why? Because some people won't be able to make it. Some people that you think that should be able to come will not be able to come because it's a different commitment than actually stepping out of your house, traveling, going to your neighboring town, what's the area, to go for somebody's wedding. But having to travel out of town or out of the country is money and commitment that someone probably never planned for the year or whatever. So sometimes you might get offended, or you might get a reason to, maybe even one of your friends can't make it, one of your friends can't be able to come for whatever reason. So you really have to plan and prepare yourself to not get offended, because some people might offend you, not because they want to, but because it just happens to be that they can't just be there because it's out of town or out of the country. Yeah. Also, get some vendors, or all your vendors preferably, from that place. It's always good when you get your vendors when you don't have to travel, because number one, you got to pay for extra money for traveling. Yeah. Except the only thing is sometimes you're very skeptical. For example, I don't think it is going to be, some people will be like, oh, these makeup artists get my face. That's another thing. So if you can it's usually better if you get people over there, because it reduces cost and even traveling worry and all those things. Having to pay for extra hotels, having to pay for, because sometimes you might have to pay more to accommodate some of these people. So it's always tricky. Then lastly, get someone. So always, preferably, when you get an event planner, this event planner is going to get somebody over there that will help you, that would help with knowing a lot of things about the place, because it's always better for you when you're going to a place that you've never been before, or a place that is not where you are. When you're going for a destination wedding, it's always better for you to get someone there. So if you stay in Lagos, for example, you're going to get married in Port Harcourt, you have to get somebody that stays in Port Harcourt, that knows the look and carrying of Port Harcourt, so that person can give you, maybe that knows people that can give you discounts or can get you maybe hotels, not just something you just see online. Sometimes you just some things and they look good, they look like great reviews or whatever, and it is wrong. It's totally wrong. It's the worst. So it's something you need someone that can actually go there, or someone that actually knows the person. So sometimes you need people who know like major places, they know nooks and crannies of that space. Yeah.